On to the Maldives. Now President Mohamed Muizzu has got what he wanted. He asked Indian soldiers to leave his country. Well, they are leaving. Indian and Maldivian officials met over the weekend. Afterwards, Malay released a statement. It says New Delhi has agreed to pull its soldiers. Some context now: India has around 80 soldiers in the Maldives. Their job is to maintain and operate aircraft, 3 of them donated by New Delhi. But Mohamed Muizzu wanted the soldiers out, and he set a deadline March 15th. Now India's statement does not mention this deadline, or even a withdrawal. This is what it says. I am quoting: both sides agreed on a set of mutually workable solutions to enable continued operation of Indian aviation platforms. No mention of soldiers, no mention of a withdrawal. But Mali is not waiting around. Their president has already made the announcement, and that too in his first address to Parliament. As agreed in the latest negotiations, the military personnel is one of the 3 aviation platforms, which will be withdrawn before March 10, 2024, and the military personnel on the remaining 2 platforms will be withdrawn before May 10, 2024. So what's the plan here? For starters, the withdrawal will be staggered. The first batch will leave by March 10th. The rest will leave by May 10th. In their place, civilians will manage the planes sort of like a swamp. Indian soldiers out, Indian civilians. So Muizzu should be happy he campaigned on the plank of India out. He's finally done it. The question is, at what cost? Just look at his parliament address today. Guess how many lawmakers attended it? 24 out of 8,000 and 24 out of 80 in attendance. The rest of the MPs decided to boycott the president's address, and they had many reasons to do so. Among them was Muizzu's anti-India rhetoric. So the president is playing a dangerous game. His big test will be in March next month. That's when parliamentary elections will be held in the Maldives. It could be a referendum on his pivot. Not just away from India, but also towards China. That's where he's taking his country this week. Mali is hosting a Chinese research vessel. It's called Seongyang Hong 3. Many experts say it's a spy vessel, but the Maldives does not think so. They are calling it a routine voyage. No research or studying, only restocking and personal change. But India is worried. Similar Chinese vessels docked in Sri Lanka recently. Back then, New Delhi raised objections. So chances are it will object again. Which brings us to Muizzu's end goals. What is he trying to do? Is this just about sovereignty and soldiers? Or has this become personal? His parliament address offered some clues. Listening. I believe that modern military capability to defend the country by road, sea and air should be strengthened in the Maldives. We have started to do that now. If God wills, the Maldivian Defense Force will soon be able to conduct the surveillance of the 900,000 square kilometer exclusive economic zone of the Maldives 24 hours a day. So Muizzu wants self-reliance. He wants a strong military. But why antagonize India for that? Why turn your most important neighbor into a villain? It's a strategy that could backfire. Muizzu's opposition has already warned him. That's the MDP, the Maldivian Democratic Party, the key opposition. Their leaders say an impeachment motion is being prepared. We don't know when it will be filed, but the MDP says within this parliamentary term, meaning before the 17th of March. So Muizzu needs a rethink. Because India and China are powerful countries, they can handle big power rivalries. But can the Maldives cannot afford to get caught in between? It's a question for President Muizzu. As for India, it's a game of few options really. You can't overstay your welcome in any country. If you do, local sentiments change. So I guess a withdrawal was the only option for India. Having said that, it's not game over because this is a long strategic battle. Sometimes you have to take a step back to move forward. Just look at what happened in Sri Lanka. India played the long game. India helped Colombo when crisis came and now relations are better. In fact, an Indian submarine docked in Colombo last week. The insurance. It's a Culvery-class diesel-electric submarine. It was in Sri Lanka for the country's Independence Day celebrations. Compare that to China. Beijing wanted to send spy ships to Sri Lanka. At first Colombo agreed, but when India objected they stopped the voyage. Sri Lanka has banned research ships for 1 year. So New Delhi has a template to follow, and that template is quite simple. India's commitment is not to Muizzu or his party. It is to the people of the Maldives. Because leaders come and go, but memories of cooperation and friendship remain. From impeachment to inauguration, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up. We're beating Biden. How dare he say that? If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage from the White House, the State Department and Capitol Hill. We know the issue, but above all, we know the player. To bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.